can't believe I'm about to do this, but here we are. So in the next few minutes, I'll be showing you how to design professional flyers using the Photoshop application. And even beginners can do this because this is zero skill required. Let's get into it. So the first thing you do is to open your Photoshop application, click on new, and then you select the size of your canvas, right? In this tutorial, I'm just going to go for 1000 by 1000, but you can just select any size of your choice. Okay, when I'm done, I'll hit create. After you're done, it will bring you to this empty canvas, and the next thing I do is to bring in my grid lines. So to bring in your grid lines, you just go to view, you come to guide, and then come to new guide layout, right? Now you select the number of grids you want. This is same using your own preference, but in this tutorial I'm just going to go for 10 by 10, right? I think that would be cool. Those grids will be enough for me to do my design, right? Now you have the chance to change the color. There are presets here that you can even choose from, right? So you can just navigate through them and then do whatever you want to do with it, right? I can just change the color or anything of that sort. When you're done, you just hit okay. Let's go with okay, right? Now the next thing I do is I'll drag all the grid lines out of the main canvas, right? So I only bring them when I need them. So just as you can see, I'm dragging all the grid lines away from the canvas, right? So let me just do this real time. Just as you can see, we now have a clean canvas, right? Now the next thing I do is to go to my folder and bring in my imported background, right? So the background I want, I'll just bring it in. So I just hit Ctrl C and drag it in. Now I got all these backgrounds and assets from Pinterest. So you just go to pinterest.com and then you download all these assets that you want to download, right? So just as you can see, now I'll hold Ctrl T and then drag it to fill the entire canvas, just as you can see. Now the next thing I do is I make sure I convert it into a smart object and add a little bit of blur to it. So I'll come and look for blur. I'll come to the filter and come and look for blur, Gaussian blur, and I'll add a little bit of blur to it, just as you can see. Like this is fine. So maybe 3 4, yeah, they are all fine. You just hit okay. Now the next thing I do is to have to get my color palette set. So I'll come and pick this rectangular tool and I'll just create set of squares with different colors. So just watch and then understand what I'm doing. So I'll just create a square. I'll hold Alt on my keyboard and then I'll duplicate this based on the number of palettes I want. So in this tutorial I want like 5 palettes, so I'll just hold Alt and just be dragging it down. Alt, drag, Alt, drag. So I now have 5 different types of squares, right? Now I'll just change their colors, just as you can see me do. I'll just be changing their colors, right? So if you can't see the properties, you have to go to Windows and then make sure properties is checked, right? So I'll just change the colors of all the assets that you can see there. So the first one, I'll pick yellow, right? And I'll double click, come to the color, and I'll just change the color, right? So just as you can see me do, you can just follow what I'm doing right now and then just select your colors, right? Your colors shouldn't necessarily be the same thing as I'm doing, right? You can just pick different colors as well. This is the color I want to use in this design, right? So just can see I have all my colors set, and the next thing I have to do is I have to bring in my main subject or my main product, right? But before, I'll hold shift and select all the layers and hit Ctrl G to group them. Right now I'll come back to my folder and come and look for my main asset, right? So this is my main asset. I'll hit Ctrl C on my keyboard, come back to the Photoshop application. Let me drag this. I'll come back to the Photoshop application and I'll hit Ctrl V to paste. Ctrl V to paste. But just as you can see, it still has that PNG background because this was downloaded from Pinterest, right? I'll hold and click convert to smart object, right? Now I have to remove the background. It's very simple. Just come to select and then click select subject, and then Photoshop is going to select the subject for you, just as you can see me do like that. So just wait, and now it has analyzed and selected everything. When you're done, you just come and hit the max down there. Exactly, it has selected it, right? The next thing I'll do is I'll right click on that black and white and come and hit select and mask, and Photoshop is going to open this panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and come and hit on decontaminate colors. So I'll scroll down and come and hit on decontaminate colors, just like that, and hit OK. So you can see you can add a bit of feather, a bit of contrast, just to define the edges of your selected subject, right? If I hit on OK, let me show you before and after so you get to see why I had to do that process as well. So just as you can see the difference when I drag, when I show you. This is before, this is after, right? So you can see that it has done a very clean selection, right? The next thing I do is I have to layer this wall, right? I have to put this at a rightful position. The next thing I do is come and select a circle in the tool panel, and I'll just draw a circle like that, right? I'll just draw a circle, right? So just as you can see, I'll just draw a circle and I'll adjust it to fit into a very good position that I like. Yeah. Right. Okay. So that position is fine. So now the next thing I can do is I can bring it to the center by hitting Ctrl A on my keyboard and then selecting the move tool and then make sure it's centered right. And I'll just drag it down the jollof layer and I can change the color. So the reason why I created this palette is I can just come from my eyedropper to select the color I want, and then if I go and I select that color, you can see that it will change that particular layer that I'm on, right? So just watch what will happen if I hit OK. Exactly, it has changed the color from white to yellow. I would advise you just look on screen and then just follow whatever I'm doing, because this audio was actually recorded after I did a tutorial. Sorry, forgive me for that. Okay, center everything right by hitting Ctrl A on my keyboard to center everything right. All right. Okay, so we are just making sure everything is in position. Now bring our grid lines, because we want to bring our text in now. So just bring our grid lines in position so that we'll be able to align our text perfectly, right? So just be dragging our grid lines. So that's the purpose of the grid lines that we brought in, right? I'm doing this raw time, so I don't want to skip any process, right? So you get to see how everything is done in Photoshop, right? Okay, now we'll go to our Word and then just copy every information I want, because we've typed every information. And this one best practice that you can always do: if a client gives you a work to do, you make sure you put it in Word and then you just be copying and then you'll be pasting, right? But before you paste, you need to select the text tool before you can paste, right? So always select the text tool and click on the canvas before you can paste it, right? So paste, exactly. So now have it there like that. Right, now we can change the color by coming to that layers panel. So we can go to the layers. Let me align it to our first. Let me hit Ctrl T and let me drag it to make it a bit bigger, right? You hold Alt and then you drag it to make it a bit bigger, right? So just as you can see, like that, exactly. Now you just come to that layers panel, select it, come to properties, and then you just come and change the font, the style, anyhow you want it to be, right? I want to make the color white, right? So that's the reason why we created those color palettes, right? To easily get the colors that we want, right? Okay, I think this is fine, and then we'll just do same for the other text that are left, right? So let's just make this quick. We just copy and we'll just be pasting them just like that, right? Now if you want to adjust a particular word, you make sure you highlight that particular word. So let's look at an example that I'm about to show you, right? So I want to change the color of the flavor. I'll just highlight it and that would be the only color I change. You get? Exactly. So just as you can see, right? Now you just align them. So it's just about adding things to your canvas just to make it beautiful, right? You just copy the rest like that. Decrease the size. Change the color to white. Okay, once that is done, I want to add their contact details beneath it, right? So just come and pick this rectangle tool again and just draw a rectangle like that. If you don't know how to use all these tools, I have master tutorials in my playlist, so you can go and check it out, right? Just align it to the center like that. You just come and pick our final information and then just paste it in there like that. Let's copy it again. We couldn't copy it well, so you highlight it and hit Ctrl C. Exactly, so you just paste it, right? Alright, and we just paste it in there like that, right? Now I want to add some drop shadow to the rectangle that we did, so we're just going to check on drop shadow. We're just going to add some drop shadow like that, right? Increase the drop shadow. Beautiful. Right, now if I take off all the grids, you're going to see that we are done with a simple yet elegant, but we'll delete these color palettes, we don't need them.